Hi, everyone. This is Kylene with Parents for Public Schools of Pitt County, continuing our spring 2021 school tour series. And we are glad to be joining the staff and a parent at Stokes School today. Let's start by meeting Ms. Newman. Ms. Newman, tell us who you are and what role you play there at Stokes.
Hey there, my name's Megan Newman, and I am the principal at Stokes School.
It is so great to meet you, Ms. Newman, and I know we're going to meet more of your staff today and even a parent that you've got engaged there at Stokes. Start out, Ms. Newman, by talking to us a little bit about the size of your school, how many students you have, and specifically how many students parents could expect their child to be in a classroom with.
Well, Stokes is actually the smallest school in Pitt County, despite the fact that we are pre-K through 8th grade. So pre-K through 8th grade, we have about 240 children, give or take a few, and class size varies. We usually have one or maybe two teachers per grade level. So the children that each child is with in class, they usually see again and again all the way up through 8th grade. And our classes range anywhere from 18 to 24 typically. Sometimes a bit smaller, sometimes a bit larger, but somewhere in that range.
All right, so parents, you're looking at some lifelong friendships that are about to happen when you join Stokes School. So Ms. Newman, with such a small school, I imagine that there's a lot of communication that happens so that everyone is on the same page and everyone knows exactly what's happening. Talk to us a little bit about what communication looks like at Stokes.
Well, here at Stokes, our teachers are very good about communicating with parents. Our teachers use various platforms to communicate, whether it's picking up the phone to call, sending an email, or using an app like Dojo. They communicate regularly with the parents in their class. And on a school level, each week I will send out an all call that just lets parents know what's coming up in the weeks to come. And we also have an active Facebook page where there are pictures, and our weekly updates also go onto the Facebook page. So parents can log in and see that. And if someone is interested in coming to Stokes, I would encourage them to follow that page, and that would give them a good idea of our culture here.
Wonderful. I love how you talked about the culture of your school and how it really is just an embracing atmosphere. You wanted to tell us a little bit about sports opportunities at Stokes, so take it away.
Yes, so we are very small and we don't host athletics here at Stokes, but that doesn't mean that our children don't have the opportunity to participate. So Stokes, among other smaller schools north of the river, combine athletic teams, and our children will get on an activity bus at the end of the school day and go over to the school where that athletic event may be hosted. So our children in middle school have the opportunity to participate in cheer, basketball, football, volleyball, wrestling, baseball, softball, and soccer. So lots of opportunity in a typical year to participate in athletics, and they try out, and then they also make new friends at other schools as well.
So it may be a small school, but certainly no opportunities lost. All of the students there really get to participate in the full gamut that Pitt County Schools has to offer. So speaking of things that you have to offer, let's talk a little bit about your Encore classes and what students get to do in Encore, and maybe a little bit about how that might change from the elementary level to the middle school level at a K-8 school.
Yes, so in a typical year, we have a lot of Encore offerings. Our K-5 children get to participate in art, music, PE, and library. Which is wonderful. And then when they switch to middle school, they get to choose from electives. And our electives here vary from year to year based on student interest. So our teachers typically ask the children what they may be interested in, and then gear their course offerings towards that. So in years past, we've offered things like sports conditioning, photography, band, CTE, and they have the other offerings also of library, sometimes called leadership, depending on what she's teaching. and then general music.
That sounds really exciting. And you mentioned some that I've not heard about at some schools in Pitt County. So that's really neat that you have some very unique opportunities. And you talked a little bit just now, you mentioned leadership. And I think you have something unique going on there at Stokes that we're going to hear about from several of your staff today. But go ahead and talk to us a little bit about why that word leadership was so important.
Yes, so Stokes is the only Pitt County school that is a Leader in Me school, which means we teach the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. We teach this not just to our students, but also to our staff. And we expect for our staff and our students to live out those 7 habits in their day-to-day life. But that program that we choose to do, it overshadows everything else. It encompasses the way that we do what we do here. So from the SEL time that you'll hear more from our counselor about, to students having jobs and leadership roles that they actually get to interview and apply for. They apply for them and then interview with a panel of staff to take on certain roles, jobs like working at car duty, greeting at the door, flag duty of raising and lowering our flags daily, morning announcements, safety patrol. And our students take those jobs very seriously. And it's wonderful to have students who lead in that way. It's built into all of our instruction. So when our teachers are teaching, they work the habits into that, and good habits create good, responsible citizens. So we are big believers in establishing leadership in our children here.
I love hearing about that Leader in Me program at Stokes. And I think parents, if you end up at Stokes, you will really enjoy that piece being instilled in your children, and it lives out in school and out of school. We are going to move now to learn a little bit about kindergarten and see a sample kindergarten classroom. So we're going to talk with Ms. Casado, and Ms. Casado, I'll let you share all of the great knowledge that you have about kindergarten.
Hi, good morning. My name is Miss Casado, and I'm the kindergarten teacher here at Stokes School. As you can see, this is a little bit of our kindergarten classroom where we love to help students, really build that foundation and love of learning. I'd love to show you around our classroom a little bit. If you actually look up here, like Miss Newman was saying, we have some posters that actually show our 7 habits of highly effective people that we start as low as kindergarten and pre-K teaching our students. We usually teach that during what we call focus time each morning. And below it is something that we actually call our wig board. Our wig board is found in every classroom throughout our school, and it actually is to have students help me track our classroom goals, set goals, and kind of track that learning progress as well. And not only do we track our classroom goals, but below is some of their student leadership notebooks where they get to practice tracking their own individual student goals, which has been pretty awesome just to see them having that responsibility and learning that at such a young age. As you can see, our desks are spaced 6 feet apart right now just due to COVID precautions. But in a typical year, our students would be working in small groups and clusters to really help them build those important social skills that they need as they grow older and to really learn how to collaborate with one another. As I kind of turn, you'll see we get real colorful because we want to make it as inviting as possible to our students as they come in. Over here is what we have called a guided reading table. This is where students will work in small groups with myself to really help build on those reading foundations and those writing foundations so that they are prepared and confident for when they go to first grade. You'll see over here as well, we have some backpack hooks that the students hang up each morning, and on each of the desks, the students have an iPad. We are one-to-one, so students do have their own individual iPad that they get to use each day to assist in their learning. We also have a smart board in our room that we use daily with the students as well.
Thank you for taking the time to tell us about kindergarten and to show us your wonderful space. Parents who are watching, I do want to remind you that we are filming during a pandemic. So some things that you'll see today are set up for pandemic life, but many of the things you're hearing talked about are more for a traditional school year. You'll also see some staff wearing masks and others not wearing masks. If they're not wearing a mask, then they are in a space alone. And if someone were to walk in, you'll see them put it on. If they're wearing a mask, they may be in a space where other people might be walking around. So we just want to make sure that those of you watching this for years to come know what's happening while we're filming. We are going to move now to the Media Center, where Ms. Roberts is going to welcome us to that space and tell us about the Media Center and some other aspects of Stokes.
Well, good morning. I'm Kelly Roberts, and I am in the Media Center. This is the hub of the school. This is basically where lots of students love to come in the morning for morning checkout. And this is where we have about between 8,500 to 9,000 books that are here. My librarian, she had the opportunity this year to get a chance to reorganize the library. She changed it into according to genre, which is very easy for the kids to be able to find the books. It's very similar to the way that you would do it in the bookstore. So that makes it a lot easier for the kids. The library is a place where we hold meetings. We also have used this as an opportunity for our Lighthouse team. That's our student, similar to student government, but that goes with our Leader in Me program. We have a student organization similar to student government, we call it a Lighthouse team, where they come in and they have the opportunity to meet and make decisions about things that they want to see happening in the school. So that takes place here. Miss Garris, our librarian, she also makes time for Battle of the Books. This is where the school actually has the opportunity to go and battle against other schools within the district to talk about to talk about the books that they have read and answer questions. So we also, if you've noticed in the library behind me, there is a Sharpen the Saw, which is one of our habits. We have the habits posted all over the library because we want to continue to make sure that our students, have them in their mind, and they're constantly being noted that the habits are important. It's an important part of our school. I think that as a Leader in Me school, we have been in this program for about 5 years. We started out years ago, and I've been here that entire time, and we just wanted to build leadership within our students and help them to build confidence to be able to go out into the world and really be true global citizens. These children do have the opportunity to apply for jobs the way Ms. Newman was telling you earlier, and they are so proud to apply for the jobs. They are actually interviewed by the adults in the building. We ask them questions, they answer the questions, and we choose the students that best fit the job. All of the students have the opportunity, and most of them do apply for jobs. We also have Leadership Day, which is an annual event where the students actually run the entire school, from the greeter to the door to the student that's actually telling, that's the speaker. So we are very proud of our students. We want them to be leaders. We want them to make an impact on our community, and we want them to make a difference in the world. And we are very proud to be a Leader in Me school.
All right, thank you so much for sharing all about the Media Center, Ms. Roberts. Let me make sure we are moved back to, I had to move you onto Spotlight because it kept highlighting me. So we are going to move now and talk with Ms. Olson. And Ms. Olson is our counselor there at Stokes, and she's in the cafeteria. So she's going to tell us a little bit about the cafeteria, but also a bit more information from the counselor perspective.
Hi everyone, my name is Georgia Olson, and again, I am the school counselor at Stokes. So I will start off talking about the cafeteria and what lunch time looks like. So I will just kind of move you guys around just so you can see what our cafeteria looks like. And the children have about 30 minutes to eat lunch, which is usually plenty of time. And there's always staff members in there to assist the younger kids if they need help opening like their milk or other packaged foods, as well as to help really any kids that need anything at the time. So we usually walk around and just assist when we can. I can also show you how the kids would line up and go through the lunch line. So I will do that now. Just follow me. Don't get too dizzy. typically students will line up in this hallway right here and go through this door to get their lunch. So they'll just go through this line. And circle back out through this door, which is normally open. They will check out right here and then go sit back down. So I just wanted to show you what that would look like. So again, the students have about 30 minutes to eat, which is plenty of time. They usually finish before and then they can just talk with their friends. So that's a little bit about the cafeteria. Moving on to more of what I do as a school counselor, and to talk more about focus time, which was mentioned by Ms. Casado and a bit by Ms. Newman. So focus time is every morning from 8 to 8:30, the whole school participates in focus time. And so what that means is this is a time to check in with students to see how they're doing emotionally. So teachers, they all have a check-in to do to see how the kids are feeling that morning, to check in with how they're feeling, and then they will do a social emotional learning lesson during focus time. And those will be incorporated with our Leader in Me to talk about the 7 habits. And then occasionally as well, I will push into classrooms during focus time to do individualized classroom guidance lessons as well. So that's just a bit about focus time.
All right, thank you for sharing with us about the cafeteria. That's always a big interest that parents have. And parents, the social emotional learning component is something that has become a big focus during the pandemic, but is here to stay. So no matter when you're watching this, you will have a child who is learning about social emotional learning skills and participating in that focus time at the beginning of the day. That was great to hear about. I believe we are going to move now to a very important person in the school. And as you all are watching, you know that your role as a parent is crucial to the success of students and the success of a school. So Ms. Tyson, can you tell us a little bit about your experience there as a parent and maybe what's been most meaningful as a parent at Stokes?
Absolutely. So I think my most memorable, jump right into it. I have a son that just started kindergarten, and we recently found out he was diagnosed with autism and ADHD. It's a pretty big deal, and his kindergarten teacher has been phenomenal with trying to find ways to help him in class. We've been working together a lot to better understand his capabilities and his struggles, his strengths, and really try to focus to make sure his education still stays number one and all the precautions are being taken care of for his success. I also have a first grader, and she's been doing absolutely great in school as well. I think from a parent's perspective, just the amount of compassion this entire school has is absolutely amazing. It has blown me back because I have dealt with other schools before, not necessarily from a parent's perspective, but enough to kind of get a good vibe for them. And this school just blows all the other ones out of the water. It's insane.
How amazing to hear. I think all of you as parents know that it's so important that our children get a well-rounded education. But it's also important that they are cared for and nurtured by the adults in their school during the day. And it was great to hear that from you, Ms. Tyson. From your perspective, what are some suggestions that you might give to parents about ways to connect and be engaged there at Stokes?
So connecting and communicating is actually very simple. This school uses an app called Seesaw. There's a family version and then there's a student version. Their iPads have the student version, so it's logged in. It makes homeschooling very easy. And the Seesaw for the families, I download right on my phone, and everything I need is right there. I'm able to connect with the teachers. They respond very well. You can send pictures and stuff. So, I mean, it's a really good platform to communicate with the teachers. And Ms. Newman is also very involved in the school. So getting in contact with her is super easy. You can email, you can call, it doesn't matter. She's very responsive and very involved. So communication, I mean, as far as recommendations, I don't know that I have any. It's always so easy as is.
And are there ways that you or other parents can engage there at the school, and maybe not during the pandemic, but are there opportunities to volunteer or be part of events that are happening and things like that?
There are plenty of opportunities. The biggest thing I would recommend is join the PTA. The PTA does an awful lot. They're very involved and they're very flexible. So they normally have meetings about once a month or so, depending on if anything crazy is going on that month or not. It was usually on a Tuesday night. So, if you're that stay-at-home mom, you've got plenty of opportunities because there's always some fundraiser or some festival or something like that going on that you can help out with. But even if you're a working parent, they have a lot of after school and evening type activities that you can also participate in as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us from a parent perspective today. We are going to move on now back to Ms. Newman. And Ms. Newman, it has been wonderful to learn about your school and see a few spaces in your school. And I wonder if you have any closing words to share with parents who are watching.
I think that just as parents consider what school they think might be best for their child, or if they live in our attendance area and this is where they're planning to come next year, I think just words of comfort. It can be unnerving to send your child to school, particularly during a pandemic when you can't really come in the building and you can't meet the teachers as in the same way that you would in a typical year. But I can say here what makes Stokes so special is that our teachers truly, like Ms. Tyson said, they truly do care about each and every child. Almost all of our teachers who aren't in the classroom can call every child by name and know their needs and know their families. And that's a really good feeling. It's a very family feel. And we do everything we can to make sure that all of their needs are met, both academic and that emotional.
Wonderful. And for those of you watching, again, we are filming during the pandemic, but we are so hopeful that as the new school year comes up, that you are able to walk in the doors again. We're just going to have to wait and see what that looks like. But I know some of you might be watching this for years to come when we're fully back in the building again. But Ms. Newman, thank you so much for sharing your school with us today and really reassuring us as parents about the caring and nurturing environment that happens, which truly contributes to a successful education. Parents, I know if you have more questions about Stokes, Ms. Newman would be more than happy to talk with you over the phone or email. You can also reach out to Parents for Public Schools of Pitt County, and we're happy to connect you with any Pitt County school staff who might best be able to answer your questions as you're making the choices for the best educational opportunities for your child in the future. Thank you for joining us today, and everybody have a great day.